Good morning everyone, welcome to So What If I Sew. I'm Jess. If you've not been here before, this channel is part of a blog and Instagram that's all about sewing, dressmaking and all things stitch related. And it is October somehow, oh my god. This was my last project for September, but first video for October because obviously the week is sort of half and half. It's weird, the date this year. And to commemorate the fact it's now getting really cold, I decided I'd make something in a proper jersey or stretch knit. And I've worked with jersey a couple of times. I don't mind it, it's fine, but I've never worked with an actual like knit, as it were. Like I've worked with like flat jersey. I've never worked with rib knit or anything until today. The other reason for this video is I was going through my Sewing Bee book, Fashion with Fabric. I've got quite a few of them, but this one's really good. And I happened upon a 3-hour slouchy cardigan that is designed to be completely made and ready to wear within 3 hours. I really like a challenge, so we're going to have a go at it. I am going to try this in 3 hours, including tracing the pattern pieces, because it should be a fairly simple fit. There aren't that many pattern pieces, as far as I can see. There's 2, so we should be okay. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of test the clock on this one and see how fast we can do it. Things you will need for this project. You will need about 1.5 meters to 2 meters of your chosen stretch knit or jersey. You could make this in anything light. I have chosen this beautiful, as you can tell I quite like wearing grey, this stunning stretch knit from Maker's Merchant, who will feature on the blog, or have featured on the blog actually, the day before this will come out. So lovely stretch. It has got 4-way stretch, but a lot more sideways and up and down, which is perfect for what we want for this, because as it's cardi hanging, we don't want it to stretch out of shape. I have got, I believe, 2 meters of this. I've got a lot. And it had to be used as well because stretch knits don't fit in my fabric box. They're just boying out the top. So I desperately need to use this. Other things we will need. We will need ballpoint needles. So I actually got these with my sewing machine. I got some denim ones as well because I thought I need these. But ballpoint or jersey needles are my favourite needles to sew with. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know what a ballpoint needle is, it's what we use with jerseys and stretch knits. There's also stretch needles that do the same thing, but more so. Basically what they do is instead of kind of stabbing a hole through your fabric and pulling the thread back up, they're slightly rounded at the tip, so they thread through the loops of the knit fabric and bring the stitches back up without actually puncturing them in the same way. And that means that your stitches can move with the fabric rather than pulling against it as the stretch naturally moves. So very, very important. I was like, it'll be fine. It's not. You do actually need to use them. So ballpoint needles, you need some interfacing, about 25 centimeters. I may or may not use some. I really don't use it very often. If I can get away with not using it, I will, but I'll see what they actually need it for. And of course, we need coordinated sewing machine thread. It also recommends using a stretch twin needle if you can. I don't own twin needles, so we're not doing that. I'm using white thread. I'm using the last of my white thread, so we will see. Hopefully we run out of fabric before we run out of thread. So I'm going to set my machine up now, because that feels like I can do it pre-time. And then we will start the timer, which will be on my iPad, so I can show you guys the timer as we go along. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I like a challenge, so join me for the next 3 hours to make this stunning slouch cardigan. So I have reset my machine and I've added the table onto it for the first time. It's really exciting because I'm working with a stretch knit and it's quite heavy. I don't want it to pull down while I'm sewing it and stretch out of shape, so I can let it sit on the table here. We have a lovely ballpoint needle in the machine now, some white thread in. It's a grey marl, so white will be fine. Then we also have my little emergency sewing kit here, which has got my tape measure, scissors, seam ripper and spare thread, needles, that sort of thing. I always have that little box next to me because I don't have space to have all my stuff laid out. So the little emergency box is great. Then over here we have my ironing board fabric ready to go. And then on the floor we have this is the pattern sheet I'll be tracing off, and then my baking paper that I trace onto, and the instructions. So I'm ready to go. I'm gonna set my timer while I'm on video with you guys. We're going 3 hours, and let's go. We are at 2 hours 18 minutes, if you can see that on the clock. I have traced, cut, and then cut all my pattern pieces. I say all, there's 2 of them, so we're doing okay. And I honestly think, yeah, 2 hours, oh, I must pause that actually while I'm talking to you guys. I think that we will be okay for the time limit. So I'm quickly going to just clean up the mess from cutting out and put away the rest of the fabric, because I've got lots left, which is great, so I can use it for something else. And then we will get to sewing. But I'll put the timer back on while I clean up, because it is part of the process, and I really do want to see if you can do this in 3 hours. So let's see how I get on. So the first step is we're working with the back piece, this big one that's cut on the fold. Sorry, it's so crinkly because it's enormous. And what we've got to do quickly is stabilise the back neckline. Now, you can do this with interfacing, a little strip, or you can use stabilising ribbon like this. I have this left over from another project, and it's actually exactly the right size for my neckline. So I'm just going to use this, you zigzag it into place, and what it does is it just keeps the strong shape of the neckline, and it won't like stretch out of shape. So quickly zigzag this in, and then we are doing the shoulder darts on the front piece. So I'm going to show you them quickly, because then I'm going to sew them in a runner. It says you're meant to do them with twin needles, but I don't have a twin needle, and I'm going to assume I can just do it normally with a ballpoint, as per usual. So you can see there's these 2 like box darts. So it's, rather than creating a point, it's like a straight fold, just into almost like a pleat really. So we're going to do that with a normal needle, but if you've got a twin needle, do it. There's little arrows at the bottom telling you which way to fold, which is good. And then that will be our first 2 steps. So stabilise back neckline, do our front darts. So let's have a go. Got 2 cardigan fronts where you stitch the pleats at the back and then fold them away from the inside so they go that way and create some shape there, which I really like. So we've got 2 of those, and then we have our back piece with the stabilisers stitched into the neckline there. I messed it up a bit there because I'm not used to this exact stitch on my machine. It's slightly wide, but there we go. It'll still do the job it needs to do. So our next job is to I think that it wants us to top stitch the other side of our pleats once we've pressed them so that they sit flat and don't create bulk. It wants me to do that with a twin needle, I think, so it does either side, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to top stitch both sides down probably. So there it goes, it fits really nicely, lays in line, flat line at the top, so we'll top stitch down either side just so they lay flat and look really pretty. And then step 4 is to join the front to the back. So it is pretty quick. As a time check for you guys, we are on 1 hour 50, so doing pretty well, to be honest. There's only a couple more steps after this and it's mainly like finishing and hemming, so let's get going. We are at 1 hour and 7, there we go, remaining. And I've had quite a few issues with my sewing machine, which means I've gone a little bit slower than usual. However, with an hour to go, I have got a cardigan, which is very exciting. So I just need to hem the sleeves and just sort of hem around the kind of front opening so that we cover this tape. It's actually inside out, so let me turn it. I'm already loving the kind of fit and drape of this, it's really fun. And I can see myself making quite a few of these because I live in knitwear. But yeah, so the problem I'm having with my sewing machine is that when I first started sewing, the thread tension dial didn't seem to be corresponding to the thread. So like as an experiment, I put it up to max tension and I could still pull the thread through really, really easily. So I turned off the machine, dialed it down to 0, and then when I turned it on, went up slowly through them, and now it's above normal tension by 1 because I found that works better with jersey, and it is properly like pulling back, which has speeded things up immensely. But yes, that was a bit of a pain early on, but we're doing okay. So it wants me to twin stitch the hem. I don't have a twin needle. I don't know how many more times I'll say that in this video, but I don't. So I'm going to cover stitch the edges and then fold it in, and if I need to do 2 lines of stitching, I'll do 2 lines, but we'll see actually what's required versus stylistically what they want me to do. But yeah, we've got these fun pleats on the front which give it a little bit of shape. They're a little bit messy because they are very much from the my machine was being a pain era. But I'm actually, if I hold it up, I'm really, really happy. I made an extra small, which is a UK 8 to 10. So it's got a fair amount of flex in the sizing as well, and then when you make it in a stretch knit, it's really going to wear into the shape I want to. So I'm going to take a break now. Paused my timer at 1:07 because we're doing Sunday lunch and my partner needs the kitchen because we have a very small house. So I'm going to take a break, edit what I've got together so my phone isn't full, and then I will rejoin you guys after we've had our Sunday lunch to do my last little bits. Here we are. Lunch has been had, it was delicious. Cannot forsake a Sunday lunch even for sewing. So we're back. We have our cardi, it's gorgeous. I need to go through and snip some stray threads, but our timer, which has unhelpfully just gone off, is at 1:07, exactly where we left it. We've got an hour to go, and I don't think I'm going to need an hour, so it's a really quick pattern actually, I'm really impressed. So what we're going to do, first of all, is press these seams and press them open, and then we press them everything, like the arm seams, shoulders, everything to the back. And then we're going to work our way around, pressing back 1.5 centimeters, so the seam allowance, all the way around to create a nice kind of simple finish on it. It doesn't need much, it's literally just enclosing the raw edge. And because it's jersey, this jersey actually doesn't fray at all. It's incredible. Like, I was anticipating so much fluff when I cut it, but actually nothing. It really hasn't frayed at all, which is fantastic. So I'm going to go finish the edges, turn them back, hem it, so there's one continuous hem all the way around, and we're working with the wrong side out so that when we press out, obviously it's going to cover this black bit at the back, it's going to cover all the raw edges, and then we're pretty much done. The last thing after that is to hem the sleeves. So it's been a pretty quick project. I'm happy that it's taken the under 3 hours. I mean, realistically, when I finish, we're still gonna have like probably half an hour left. So I would actually massively recommend this if you're looking for a super easy, simple first project with stretch, because I'm really impressed by the effect this produces for very little work actually. So yeah, it's in the Fit to Fabric Great British Sewing Bee book, which I have linked below. I've linked it on Amazon, but it's not affiliate or anything, it's just where I found it. So yeah, let's get going and let's finish off this garment, and then I'm gonna get comfy in it and probably watch some TV while I do my MA read. We are 57 minutes and 41 seconds left on the timer, so this cardigan took me 2 hours and 3 minutes to sew. My maths might be wrong, but I think that's about right. And here it is, I'm wearing it now. So I'm going to stand up and show you guys. I really like it. I like the length. I think I was considering originally sizing up, but I'm really glad I didn't, because it would have been like down to back to my knees otherwise. But yeah, I really like it. I like the pleats in the front. They do actually give it a little bit of detailing and shape. I like the sleeves. I may have made my cuffs slightly too thick, but I still think they hang alright. They pull a bit and they kind of get wedged at my elbows, but I don't mind because I'm someone who pushes my sleeves up anyway. But yeah, I love this pattern. I would say that without having to trace it out and without having the sewing machine issues I've had today, this probably would have taken me like an hour and a half. It's so quick to sew. It is literally, the pleats are the only fiddly bit, and then after that it's just, like, I didn't even pin my side hem, I just did it blind because it's folding in by 1.5 centimeters, so I just did it on my machine. And because I picked a grey marl, you can't see the white stitching, which is lovely. So yeah, I'm super chuffed with this. I'm gonna go get some photos, but I would say yes, completely doable in 3 hours, including issues, including tracing it from the book. So for once, I actually agree with pattern labelling, yay! So yes, completely doable in 3 hours. Works really well with stretch knit. I would imagine it works well with like interlock and flat jerseys as well. You just need to make sure they've got a fair bit of stretch so that it hangs right. And I would say entirely beginner friendly and a fantastic first pattern for using stretch or jersey, because there's so little really that can go wrong. This is actually my first time using stretch knit. I've used jersey before and I'm actually really chuffed with the result. I've got another metre of this left, so I'll have to think of something nice to do with it. But otherwise, I'm going to go get some pictures of this before it gets dark, because I've not got long. And then I'm going to tidy up. But thank you so much for joining me today. I do love a Sunday sew with you guys, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share and subscribe, and if you click the notification bell it'll tell you whenever I release a new video. But otherwise, happy October, we're there now, and I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos.